Hey, what's going on? It's Dean, the Wealth Coach, your go-to guy for building wealth, and welcome to another episode of Uber Ride to Riches. I reached out to a few people that got a copy of my Financially Fit activity book and asked them how it was going. And I got some good feedback from it. Some people were working on setting up their fund accounts to start saving money towards things that they want to do for the year and next year, which was great, because that means that person's not going to get into debt. Don't mind the audio, I forgot my mic today. I just said, how's the book going? And they just sent me like this long message of all the things that they're doing in terms of the book. So I was like, great, it's working. Put a smile on my face, you know? I reached out to another person. They were able to be more mindful of their grocery list when they're shopping and finding alternatives to save money. Amazing. This stuff's working. One was kind of like, how do you say, it was good and bad. I forget the saying, how they call it. It was bittersweet, there we go. Because they are just so hard-strung on purchasing a home in the near future, maybe within a year or something. I gotta get a house. Until they read one section of the book that talks about getting a house. And they're like, I'm actually not ready. After going through that exercise, and I was like, man, that's a win right there. Not so much a win for me, but a win for them. Because I'm thinking, imagine if they did purchase a home, what they would have to go through. And I can almost see myself when I purchased my first home, the things I went through, but there was nobody there to coach me. And all the trials and tribulations I had to go through to learn from that experience. Where it's like, now I probably could save somebody that headache of going through that, and then God knows what could happen when they get into that situation. Maybe struggling to make payments, maybe not enough to close on a house. All these things that I went through. And that's the whole purpose of me creating this Financially Fit activity book. So that you don't make the mistakes I made with purchases, saving money, investments, budgeting, credit. Credit, not so much that I make mistakes, but I know it's something that a lot of people go through, making those credit mistakes. And I'm just so grateful that this book is just opening people's eyes. It's the little things that count. We often look at the big things, like big goals in the house, the car, the big savings, the big investments. Everybody starts somewhere. You gotta start small before you get big. A lot of us weren't born with a silver spoon in our mouth. The trust funds with hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in it sitting waiting for us. Stock portfolios just handed down to us. A lot of us are not starting that way. But you're in a good space or position because there's so much information out there that you can start these things and start building your legacy, the generational wealth in your family, making your last name live on after you pass. Because there's so many people out there that's providing this information. There's also so many websites or the internet, say, that you can get all this information. And the Financially Fit activity book is one place that you can actually get this information in just one solid spot, right? If you're looking to get a copy of the Financially Fit activity book, I'll leave a description down in I'll leave a link down in the description below for you to get it. And you can start applying this like right away. I'll leave the sample copy, so before you actually pay for anything, you can test it out and see if you like it, right? I'll leave the link in the description below. But yesterday it just warmed my heart just to know that the effort I put into making this book is actually working for some people. And eventually it's gonna get to a lot of people and help them avoid these mistakes or these experiences that I went through, because some people just can't stomach it. Can you imagine putting your life savings towards a house, and then it comes closing day to get your keys, and they said, oh, you gotta pay an extra $5,000-$10,000 that you weren't planning for, and then you lose your money? That's heartbreaking. Going or purchasing a car, or wanting to purchase a car, credit's not the greatest, but you're just so gun-ho about getting it. You end up signing a 6-year agreement with like 25% interest, and then you forgot to include your insurance costs, your maintenance costs, and then within like 6 months the repo depot is looking for you. Those are not good feelings. Mind you, I've never been there in terms of repo depot, but I had to repo a car from somebody, and I didn't even feel good doing it. But that's the situation people are getting in, and I'm just trying to help avoid these situations before they happen. The book was just designed to help you be proactive instead of reactive. It's almost like I'm giving you the prevention before you need the cure, because the cure is much more expensive. For example, I know it's a terrible example, but say in order to prevent getting diabetes, don't eat sugar. But now you eat sugar, and now you get diabetes, and now you need insulin. Insulin is very expensive, whereas if you prevented eating the sugar, you wouldn't need to get the insulin. Prevention is better than cure. If you can prevent something before it happens, do it. That's the road that you should always take. Don't play with the devil. Because when the devil gets into the ring with you, it burns. Or don't play with the fire. It's gonna burn. You can avoid it at all costs. Don't put yourself in those predicaments. At first, when you are in the prevention stage, it may not seem like something like, I'm not doing that, it's soft, blah, blah, blah. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. When you cross that bridge when you get there, depression, stress comes along, anxiety. Why put yourself in that predicament? Just avoid the headache altogether. Sometimes it may cost in the short term, but in the long term, you'll be so much happier. Another example, car insurance. Prevention versus the cure. Mind you, when I say prevention for car insurance, prevention, what's something that happened to me with your car breaks down. Your prevention is you have the car insurance that covers you anywhere, wherever you're from, and a tow truck will come pick you up and bring you to the nearest mechanic or drop off your car. That's a prevention. You pay a little extra premium, but you're good. It gives you a peace of mind. Now, say you don't have insurance and your car breaks down. Your car ends up in a ditch. You can't prevent that from happening. You don't have the tow truck to come and get you there. The only cure you have is getting a tow truck to dig you out, paying that tow truck driver, and worst of all, the police coming on scene saying, oh, do you have insurance, blah, blah, and you're like, no. And they're like, oh, you don't have insurance? Slap you with like a $5,000, $10,000 ticket. Now you gotta go look for that money. All that could have been prevented if you had insurance. Think of what it is that you can do before the worst can happen. What's the worst that can happen? That's how you need to think before it actually happens. Don't think of, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. What's the worst that can happen with this scenario? Now, it may be sounding like a Debbie Downer or whatever, but when you start thinking in that mindset, a lot can happen for you. It's just a peace of mind. Think about all the bad that can happen and prevent it before it even happens. Taking that extra precaution. That's not just in everyday life. It's real estate investing, stock investing, starting a new business. You have a new idea. If you can start thinking of all these things, you're pretty much set up. It's like going to war with whatever it is that you're going up against. Setting that strategy, having that blueprint in place before these things happen. That's today's message that I wanted to drop to you guys. I hope you found value in this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with my channel, and I'll see you on the next video.